It is slow. Okay, here we go. You'll have to mute that.
That's not me.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. I'm sorry, I'm having some technical trouble. I'm Judge Person. Good morning. I welcome everybody to court this morning. I want to give some basic information before we get started. I do want to let everyone know that when you're given a ticket or issued a citation, those are methods we have under the law for accusing someone. That is what a ticket is. It's an accusation. And when you give a plea, you're giving an answer or a response to that accusation. There are three options for pleading: guilty, not guilty, and no contest. Guilty means I did it. Just one second. It has something to do with when we turned that Teams meeting speaker on the other day. I don't know. So guilty means I did this, and not guilty means I'm contesting the charge. No contest means I'm authorizing the court to find me guilty without admitting or denying the charge. If you would just give me one quick moment. Okay. So what I will tell you is that, I'm sorry, we had a reboot this morning and it's just been a little bit chaotic, which is part of the reason for the late start. So the three options for pleading: for giving an answer or response to the accusation, that is the ticket or the citation or the summons. Okay, there's like three ways to get here. You can get a ticket or a citation or a summons. When you answer, you're giving a plea. If you plead guilty, you're saying I did this. Not guilty means I'm contesting it. No contest means I'm authorizing the court to find me guilty. I'm not admitting or denying, not contesting. Okay, so if you plead guilty or no contest, I'm moving towards sentencing. If your plea has already been accepted and you're scheduled for today, I'm looking at your sentence to see why it might or might not be working, seeing if I can work with you to get it back on track, or if adjustments are needed. And adjustments in lieu of going to warrant is what that is. And then if you're pleading not guilty, that case is heading toward, and we have an option to do an online meeting. And then we come into court if it's not resolved at this point. Okay. So folks who are here on the not guilty docket are moving into a meeting with the prosecutor. The prosecutor represents the city. The prosecutor is the equivalent of a district attorney, except we're not in district court. So they work for the city attorney's office, but they're just a deputy attorney, just like the DA would be. So that person in this court is assigned is Ryan Matson. Mr. Matson, could you just unmute and let everybody know who you are, please?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ryan Matson. I'm the prosecutor for Temple.
Thank you, sir. And so I will actually begin. I want to go ahead and start you, Mr. Matson, on the Juan Ricardo Morales Orta case. And I do have Kendra File. Did I say your name correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Attorney File, I'm going to move you and Mr. Matson into that meeting so that you can go ahead and have this conversation. Give me just a moment. There we go, Mr. Matson. That should move you or give you that option. After y'all's meeting, you'll come back into this meeting and we'll just do an update check-in before you go. Thank you. I do have a few people coming in a little bit late, and I had some folks I couldn't identify. So I'm going to hit pause on the lecture for a moment. I have a person labeled iPhone, and I don't want everyone with an iPhone, just the person I sent an unmute to. If you could unmute and tell me your name. So just iPhone, you're not on the screen. Hi, phone caller, can you tell me your name?
Deborah Anderson.
What's the last name? Deborah Anderson.
Anderson. Yes.
Okay, Ms. Anderson, I've got you down. And I'm just listen carefully, because you're scheduled to meet with the prosecutor, and that's fine. But I don't want to lose track of you, and so I will call your name out here in a little bit. Thank you so
Okay.
much for letting me know who you are. Oops, I got the wrong person. Hold on. And then iPhone person, can you unmute? Sending you an unmute request.
Yes, I think it's my phone. Sorry,
No, it's not.
I'm not able to get my volume
Actually,
connected.
Ms. Vaden, it's not, do you think it is your phone?
Yes, it is my phone. I can't get my volume connected to my computer.
So I have, hold on, I've got my tea. Can you let Sean know that I can't take the call right now because we have court? So, okay, do you have a phone number that begins with a 346?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. That's working fine. Don't worry, I've got you down, okay?
Thank you.
You were in earlier and I saw that. It's just your audio wasn't working. So we've got you kind of in two places. Sometimes that doesn't work for whatever reason. It's working. Let's just leave it alone. But when I call you, I'll put both devices into that meeting. Okay. So thanks for letting me know. But I do have a person that was on an iPhone. Let's see, that might have gone away. Oh, yes, the gentleman, long hair, kind of a nice plaid shirt.
Oh, Samuel Brown.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, Mr. Brown, perfect. That was actually the one that I wasn't getting identified. And I really appreciate that we actually are able to communicate this way. It's easier. Okay, we'll be with you shortly.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. And Mr. Matson and Ms. File, did I say it right? Let's get an update on the Morales Orta case.
We're going to continue to that September 6th setting, Your Honor.
Okay, we're scheduled for an in-person final pretrial on 9/6/23 at 2 o'clock. Any paperwork resolving the cases needs to be received, and I need to sign off on them in order to cancel that court date. So I just plan to see everybody here. Thank you. You're good to go, Ms. File, without further requests to the court.
Thank you.
Okay. So I do want to let folks know, again, those pleas we've gone over, but I want to let you know just kind of how things work in a court like this one. If you plead guilty or no contest, generally speaking, or if you're found guilty at trial, generally speaking, you're found guilty, it goes on your record, you pay the fines and costs. Now, let's back into those statements because law, the tricky thing about law and the reason lawyers have the reputation they have is there's always a rule and a bunch of exceptions. Okay. So let me just tell you what those exceptions are. I prefer to not have it be a mystery. Okay. I just like everybody to have the same information. And this is all available on the internet, on the city's website, but some of us learn visually and some of us learn through listening. And so I just hit it both. So payment. Okay, I'd look at your income information in this court for a couple of reasons. One is to assess punishment. The other is to assess the eligibility for a bond. The bond is something we schedule and do to secure appearance at trial. Okay, the fine is something we look at in connection with being found guilty of an offense or being sentenced for an offense. The reason that I ask for the same information is because I'd rather get all the information that I might need. And also the law requires that I obtain most of that information. Well, all of it. It's actually, I probably have a short form compared to some forms. So I don't really like people to have to fill the same information out multiple times and just label it different. I don't have a need to shuffle extra paper to make it seem important. I just try to get important information up front and then we're good. Okay. So you would have been asked to fill that information out. In the context of not guilty, we're looking at that in relation to trial setting. In the context of guilty or no contest, I'm looking at in relation to sentencing. It is a sworn statement. I am to assume that the statements there are true and accurate under the law. And then I just look at them and see if I have additional questions. More information is better because I can make a healthier, better decision on your case. So I do look at people's ability to pay. I look at reductions. I look at other options in lieu of payment with that form in the context of pleading guilty or no contest or being found guilty at trial. Okay, so that's one thing, and that's relatively need-based. Okay, so I look at needs and I look at problems and issues and concerns, and I try to assess that early and not set people up for something that is not possible for them. I'm not trying to get a gotcha going for people. Okay, so that's one issue, and I may have questions. Okay, and you may too. Backing into whether you're found guilty and having it go on record, what I'll say there is that if you're found guilty, you can have it go on your record as a general rule, but there are 4 exceptions to that. I'm going to tell you what they are, and then I'll tell you how they work. Compliance dismissals, driver's safety course options, deferred dispositions, and teen court are all methods under Texas law for keeping an item off your record. They each have their own little, quirks, if you will, their own set of rules. And I can't go into every single rule because I would bore you to pieces, and it doesn't apply to most of the cases. So I'm going to give you some general information. On compliance dismissals, generally speaking, those are things that can be brought up to date and dismissed under state law. There has to be a law that allows it. And if you qualify, the law says the judge shall dismiss. So I'll be looking to see if you qualify. Okay. And you're welcome to ask me about it. It's your case. You're representing yourself, like 99% of the people that appear in my court. But don't be nervous about asking a question. If it's a question I'm not allowed to answer, I'll tell you that. If it's a question I'm allowed to answer, I'll answer it. If it's neither of those things, I'll just tell you. So, okay, this person was already here. I think they're having technical trouble. So you'll hear someone come in. Whatever you did worked because it didn't ding when they came in. Okay, so compliance dismissals, I will look and address those with you. You're welcome to ask. Moving violations can be dismissed through a driver safety course option if you qualify and you successfully complete the program. Right now is a good time to talk about a couple of issues. One is for compliance dismissals, the first one, and for driver safety course dismissals, the second one. You must be on time. And in the context of the moving violation, the driving safety course option, you have to qualify to be in the program and then successfully complete it. Part of the qualification is being on time. The second is paying the court costs, then completing presenting a license and insurance. And then you turn in a course and the right course and a record, the right record on time, and you get your case dismissed. Now, backing into that, every ticket has a fine and a cost. The fine is set by the judge. The cost is set by the Texas legislature. You pay the cost. The fine goes on hold. You turn in your course and your record. The ticket is dismissed and the fine is waived and it's off your record. It's cheaper to do that and keep it off your record if you qualify than if you pay the ticket outright. And the reason we do that is it's kind of incentivized because we know that people drive better after they take that course for a period of about 6 to 12 months. And so Texas law allows us to do that periodically, not every time we get a ticket, but every 12 months. So I'll look and see if you're qualified. If you don't want to do it, we're not going to make you, and we can't force you. But I can push you a little bit because I know it's a safety concern. Under Texas rules, under Texas reporting, what we know is that we have the #1 state for death and dismemberment on our roadways. And we are the #1 state for that to happen. And therefore, what I will say there is that we are charged with trying to address that. And if you're in a group, a teen group or a 25 and under group, we're in the top group. So really it's worth doing, but it does save you money and it does keep it off your record. And that's what the discussion is about right now. So the third and again, I'll look and see if you're qualified. You're welcome to ask, but I'll be checking in to see if you might be qualified. If you might be qualified, I'm going to push a little to see if you want to do it. If you don't, you don't. You just tell me that. Okay. But I do assume people might be interested. So I talk about it. Okay. The third one is a deferred disposition. And a deferred disposition is a period of delay. Deferred disposition means to make final. I delay making your case final. I put a paper, an order in place. On that paper, that order, it will tell you the things that you're going to be required to do to gain a dismissal. And if you do the things that you are required to do, you gain a dismissal. It's a known outcome. It's a way to know how to get the dismissal and to know what's going to happen. There's a little trick to a deferred disposition that's different from all other cases, and in a Class C court that is different from all other courts. Let me tell you what it is, okay? Guilty or no contest, I'd like a deferred. In other words, you make the request yourself. You're required to ask that question. And then the judge can say yes or no. You might ask the prosecutor if he, in this case, would agree to a deferral. And he has a yes or no option there too. If y'all agree, you both have a yes and you iron out what the conditions look like and you bring it to me as the judge, then I can still say yes or no. I generally say yes. If two parties agree, I normally don't get in the way. Every now and then I feel I should, but I'll just let you know. Generally, though, you can assume that I'm very fine with those agreements. Okay. But you can ask the prosecutor, you can ask the judge in a Class C court. In a Class B court or greater, you must ask the prosecutor on every case. Okay. So just be aware of how the deferral works. It's a request. I'd like a deferred. It's pretty simple. Okay. On the fourth one, it's teen court, and you have to be a high school or middle school student heading towards a heading towards a high school degree or the equivalent. And if you are in high school or middle school or homeschooled, or it would appear that you might be, I'll start pushing to see if you want to try to do teen court. And it looks like a deferred. It works like a deferred in that there are things to do to keep it off your record. But the chief difference is it's less expensive because the assumption is you're in school working towards that high school diploma. So it's really a different route to the same result. Okay, so those are the 4 ways to gain a dismissal. Today, what I'll be looking to do is try to either keep the case on the path toward finalization completion or heading towards some kind of resolution. I don't really have an opinion about what the resolution is. As the judge of the court, I am just moving things forward, making sure those rights and duties are in place and protected. Okay. The prosecutor would have a position. See the difference? Okay. So just be aware, I'm trying to move things forward. And in connection with that, I may need signatures today. The nice thing, you might go, well, then why are we online? Well, because you're not in court waiting in a line. Okay. And I can get a signature here, or if you're here and we wait in a long line and then we get your signature, or I can kind of work with you on when today we get a signature. And sometimes we can do that through the email process. Sometimes we need you to come in. So I'll be talking to you about that, but you might be mulling over the 4 things I talked about, your case itself, and then, perhaps how to get your signature, because I will be asking. Okay, so that's kind of what I call the 101. Now everybody's got the same sheet of music. We can move forward without you having to hear me say the same thing over and over again, because it takes time and it's probably irritating. And I understand that. So I will now go ahead and Mr. Matson, let's start with you. You have folks on the contested docket, and Allison Archer, I saw you a little few minutes ago. And let me see if you're there. You are. Can you unmute and tell me hello so that I know that your audio is working?
Good morning.
Good morning. I will move you over to that meeting with the prosecutor. After y'all meet, you will come back over here, and just remember that the prosecutor is not your attorney. In fact, everybody needs to be aware that prior to moving forward with your case, with your plea, once your plea is accepted by the court, you've waived the important right of obtaining legal advice. And we don't court appoint counsel in a Class C court, but we do give you time to go meet with someone. There's a long-winded legal reason why we don't, but the answer is, if you are wanting to seek legal advice before we get started, and we have not yet started your case, then you just say, Judge, I need time, and I'll move you to a reset date. So remember that once your plea is accepted by the court, you're waiving that right. And Ms. Archer, I'm moving you over to that meeting now.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, and I also am moving forward. Give me one moment to move documents around, but I am actually trying to talk to Brittany Baker. And good morning, Brittany Baker. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Great. So just looking at your situation, there are two cases that are in what we call capias. It's a type of warrant, and pleas were already accepted by the court. And right. Okay. So this came in July, and what I was going to say about this. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, your question about the flags on the license, the flag is the word you used. I kind of like it. There is kind of a flag. And once we don't hear from people, there's collection efforts that happen. When those are not very effective, then the case moves into what's called a hold on the license. So we tend to call them a hold, but a flag is an acceptable term. And yes, it's been a while. You mentioned a reduced amount that you would be willing to pay, but you didn't mention the amount. And I asked them to schedule you so that I could discuss that with you. I am, and then you put $100 at the bottom, or reduced fine pay in full. I'm just looking at these, and let me look at them with you here. Hold on,
Yes.
let me get them pulled up, because a lot of what has happened at this point is the thing that I have control over, which is the fine, is almost not a big deal compared to the rest of it. So let me look and see what I'm able to do, because I can control some of it and some of it I can't.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Do you have an amount that you know you could pay, for example, like today? I'm starting a conversation with you. It's not where we're ending.
Yes, ma'am. So anywhere between 150, 200 the most. I just recently bought a house, so mortgage is kicking my butt currently. So I'm just trying to handle, what I need to handle at this point.
Yes. Okay. So let's see. That one is the guilty yield. Okay. I have two cases. So like, for example, with the failing to yield the right of way, the fine is $160. And then, but the total of the case is $354.77. And so the rest of that is all costs. Is that the case? And then on the speeding charge, which is $425.10, the fine is only $117.90 of that $425.10. So what I'm able to do is reduce your fines to $50 per case.
Okay.
And there are some collection fees, so there'll be a commiserate reduction of the total besides just the $50. Give me and my clerk, I'm gonna have her work on this sometime. Stay on the call, okay?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
stay on the call and we will, I will give you a new total.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk about what can we do with that new total. It'll reduce, right now, the total is $779.87. If you paid that today, then your license gets released. That takes about 20 business days to clear with the state of Texas. We're gonna reduce it some and try to shave off some time on that.
So I'm no longer in the state of Texas. I haven't lived in
Doesn't
Texas.
matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
The hold that is placed at the point that it's placed, it's generally speaking, it's anywhere from 60 days to 180 days that we haven't heard from someone.
Yeah.
And that hold happens. And once that hold happens, it doesn't go away until the balance is zeroed out. And that hold, if the state you've moved to, which is Maryland, has an intra-state compact agreement to share that information, they will share it in connection with the license renewal process.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you may be held up in Maryland. I think you might be, because I think the only states we don't have an agreement with are some real deep South kind of states. Sorry, I grew up there. I know of what I speak when I sort of chuckle, but because it's just knowledge. You can't help knowing how it works sometimes. Like I grew up in Georgia. So anyway, I'm from Texas, but we grew up anyway. They all don't need to know that. But there are some southern states that we don't have a relationship with in Texas. But I think Maryland we do. So my goal now that you're here is to try to be fair.
Yeah.
And see what I can do given the limitations that the law now has on this case. So I'm going to work with you and see if we can get to a resolution. Okay.
Yes, and I have one more question.
Sure.
So once I left Texas, I actually moved to North Carolina first.
Yes.
So able to get my license switched over to North Carolina and not even knowing the fines or the in-depth of the hold of what I had in Texas. So that's why I was just like, well, if I were able to, switch to North Carolina driver's license,
We
why
have
was
an agreement with them too. But
yeah,
why were you able to renew in North Carolina, but not in Maryland?
yes.
Because it finally caught up.
Okay.
So, so the law, what the law says is, you had a case, you owed the court,
Mhm.
you didn't do it.
Yeah.
You went to warrant. You didn't probably receive the notices that we legally sent to the addresses that you provided.
Yeah.
When you didn't tell us, you didn't get the opportunity to, when you don't contact us and then you close off our ability to contact you, then you just don't get the information, but the stuff still chunks forward and
Yeah.
affects you. And
Okay.
now, I hate to put it this way, but there's just no other way to put it. It finally now caught up with you.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're here. I'm going to work with you, but that's just, the perspective I have as a judge, how I see it, but also that's just the status of the law.
Yes, ma'am. Understood. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be right back with you.
Okay. Sure thing.
Thank you. What now? I'll get back with her in just a minute. I got a few people to move along. Okay, so I know that we had Miss Archer and Mr. Matson conversing, and where are we on the single charge of speeding 75 and a 50?
Your Honor, Ms. Archer and I have reached terms of agreement on deferral.
Okay,
It's going to be a 120-day period with a 6-hour driver safety course turned in by the 60th day. And Ms. Archer said she can make payment in full by the 30th day.
okay. So the way this will read, I'm just going to make sure that I have your agreement correctly laid out. A deferral from today until December 7th. a 6-hour driver safety course due by October 10th. Payment by September 7th. No more offenses, warrants, failures to appear, and moving without changing your address with the court. If you meet those conditions, the case gets dismissed. Is that everybody's agreement today?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Okay, Miss Archer, I can have you come by and sign it and give you a copy, or I can email it to you and have you sign and email it back. Print it,
Email.
sign it, and email it back. Can you?
Email is fine.
Okay, and the email that we used for today's meeting, is that email going to work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we just need it as soon as possible, okay?
No problem.
We should send that to you within the hour.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Sorry? Okay. Mr. Matson, I'm gonna move you forward, and your next person is actually Taylor Vaden. And Ms. Vaden was having some difficulty with her audio versus her the rest of her I've actually misidentified. Ms. Vaden, can you unmute and just tell me that your audio is working on that phone?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Okay. I will move both of those devices over. Mr. Matson, for whatever reason, sometimes we have playback when we do that, but I didn't with her. So I'm going to move her visual and her audio over, and you'll see both of those come in to that meeting.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
You bet. Okay. If I could move forward with Pamela Caparasso. Morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good. I know you've been having to join and rejoin the meeting, but I did keep your place in line when that happened. There is a warrant for a single charge of running a stop sign from March 5th of 2023. The fines and costs are at $499.20. What I received from you so far is a plea of no contest and a request for a payment plan, which I normally can do. And you did request $40, which the clerk couldn't grant. I could grant that. Are you able to pay anything towards your balance today?
Yes, I can pay the 40.
Okay.
If you use the payment plan.
So monthly,
40.
yes, monthly, 30 days from today, we would begin the next payment. Is that gonna work for you?
Yes, every beginning of the month, because I'm a stay-at-home grandma. So my husband, he's retired military, so I kind of depend on his once a month pay.
Okay, you didn't disclose that. What is his payment?
That he gets a month.
Oh, I see, Anthony. I'm sorry, you put that as a business. I got it now. I've caught up. Okay. All right. So the 8th of every month, $40. Will that work starting today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When can you come by the court to sign? I'm gonna need a signature.
I could do that today.
What time though?
My husband goes to work at 12, so around 2, 3.
Okay.
That's fine.
I have a note for them to look for you no later than 3 o'clock. Everything will be at the window. It won't take long. You'll come in, you'll sign, you'll get copies of everything, and then you'll be good to go. Okay?
Okay, question? If you
Yes.
don't mind. Is this going to go towards my driver's, my record? Because I never had a ticket.
Right, it will. You've missed the opportunity to do a driving safety course when you missed your court date, which was on your ticket.
Okay,
And I don't have a way to do a deferred with $40 a month with a balance that high, because it would need to be paid off within 60 days.
okay.
So I don't see a way to get to a dismissal option on this particular one.
I understand.
I don't know your company. Many companies will give you one. I don't know though, but if you get another ticket, always come to court on time. You'll have more options for removal. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. No excuses, but I had a lot going on.
I understand that happens to all of us. We
Yes,
do
ma'am.
take letters, faxes, emails, and walk-ins. So, I mean, I don't know a better way to do it, but there's just become limits.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. But we'll work with you now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Good luck and thank you.
All right. Have a blessed one.
And you too. Miss Baker, I do have a new total for you. So,
Yes, ma'am.
I got you down from 779.87 to 538.33. And let me get a calculator. If you're paying 150 today, then your balance will be 388.33. And then that would be, if you broke that into two payments,
Mhm.
it would be 194 and 195 and some change. I'm willing to just say 150 a month until you get it paid off. Now, I'm not able to release the hold on the license till I can zero the balance out. I can't recall the warrant today, however. What I would say is that if you're able to pay it sooner, it just clears it up that much more and you won't be penalized for clearing it up.
Right.
It's not going to go up. Okay. It's just going to keep going down. So
Right.
the faster you pay that, the sooner we release that hold. Now in Texas, I tell you the hold releases and you have to give DPS 20 business days to have the record reflect the change. I will tell you 20 business days when you include the weekends is about a month. Once it clears Texas, it should then start clearing wherever else it went. I don't fully know if you reached out from North Carolina and it wasn't in there yet, and you got that license, they probably didn't add a hold to North Carolina. It's likely, but not impossible, that it's not there. Okay. When you move to your new state, when that reached out and that hold came on, it just has to clear both states.
Yes, ma'am.
But if you'd reached out to North Carolina, they would do a check too at that point. So you would have triggered it in that state. It's not like you could have gained it over a different way.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just, they're all going to find it now when they check. So any attempt to renew is going to trigger that look by that state, whatever state it might be. So this is the right thing to do, is just to come forward and deal with it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So 150 today. I do need your signature. You're out of state, obviously. I need to email this to you and have you print it and sign it and email it back. I normally require that the person come in person. I'm going to waive that requirement in your case. Okay. Because
Yes.
that worked. I'm just making notes. So I'll put it at 150 a month, always on the 8th. And that is a not later than. So what that means is that if you pay it early, you just get done faster. If you miss a payment is when you run into more fees get added because warrants get added. And the reductions I just did, you would have eaten those up.
Right.
So don't let it go back to warrant. If you run into difficulty, contact us, see if we can work with you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll email to the email that we used to set this meeting up. Will that still work?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to let you go. Once you get that signed and sent back over to us today, you can log on the city's website and make an online payment. You go to the City of Temple Municipal Courts tab, and there's a pay here option. or you can call a clerk and make payment over the phone. It's the same exact system.
Okay, I will do that today.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Baker.
Thank you. Have a
A
good day.
lot of good questions from you this morning. Appreciate
Yes.
it. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Mr. Matson, just trying to move Miss Vaden over. I guess she's coming, but part of her system isn't over yet. It's coming. She can hear us though. Miss Vaden, we can hear you, and I assume we'll see you shortly. There we go. Okay. This is a single charge from June 18th of public intoxication. The fines and costs are $296. There's a final hearing as a pretrial set for September 6th at 1:00. Where are we with this charge, Mr. Matson?
Your Honor, Ms. Vaden and I have reached agreement on terms of deferral.
Okay,
That's going to be a 120-day period with an 8-hour alcohol course by day 60. And Ms. Vaden has requested that the fine be broken up into installments of $99 after the first 30 days, $99 after the second 30 days, and then $98 after the third 30 days.
okay. So the deferral would run from today until December 7th. The course, which we will provide information to you about how to find a course, but the course is due October 10th. The first payment of $99 is due September 7th. The second payment of $99 is due October 10th. And the final payment of $98 is due November 7th. Is that everybody's understanding?
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right. Do you want to come by the court, sign your document and get a copy? Or if I email it to you, can you print it, sign it and email it back?
I'm not able to print it out and sign it. I don't have a printer, and I have to work till 5:30 today.
What are you doing right now?
Well, I'm supposed to be getting on my computer right now to start work. I work from home. But I also have my 2-year-old son with me.
You have the ability to take a lunch break?
So it's only 30 minutes on my lunch break.
But you're on South 11th Street.
Yes, ma'am.
I need a signature today.
Is there any way I could come by right now to
Yes.
sign it?
That's why I asked, what are you
And-
doing right now? And you basically
I
told
could
me
come.
you didn't come over. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll let my boss know I'm going to be late today, but I'll come over right now and sign it.
yeah, we'll have that ready for you at the window.
And is it okay? I do have my 2-year-old son with me. I have no one to watch him. Is it okay if I bring him?
Yes, it's just the lobby of the court. That's one reason why we like this platform is folks like you can still attend court. You
Okay,
wouldn't be able to
awesome.
bring them in the courtroom. It would drive you crazy. It's not a fun place for kids. They don't like it
Right.
for good reason. They have to sit still for hours. It's unpleasant. So this is
Right.
actually, in my opinion, a really good option for working folks like you and me, because I was a single mom as well. So
Okay.
everything will be at the window for you, okay?
Okay. Yes,
Well,
I'm about to leave my house in a little bit.
We'll look for you in about 10 minutes or so.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're good to go. Mr. Matson, moving you forward, your next person is Deborah Anderson. Deborah Anderson, can you unmute? I know she was on a phone.
Hello?
Hi, let me move you over to that meeting with the prosecutor at this time. Okay, and I too am moving forward. Give me just a moment. It should be Samuel Crawford. If you could unmute and get on screen, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm having problems.
Yeah, your audio's having trouble too. Let's see what we can do. Because I do have a show cause for community service, meaning that I need you to tell me why you're not getting it done. You had 252 hours due July 6th.
Yes,
At
ma'am.
that point, what I heard from you back was you're working too much. And so at that point, what we do is we get you to fill out your income information and we see if you qualify for a payment plan. But before we do that, have you gotten any of the hours due?
No,
Done?
ma'am. No, ma'am, I have not. In the beginning, it was 252 hours and you only gave me a month to do it. And
Right, because you didn't appear, I didn't see you, and therefore I didn't have authority to give you more.
yeah, yes, ma'am. But I'm not gonna lie to you. In the beginning, I was a little irritated with that because I mean, you work
Well,
40
I'm
hours a week.
irritated that you failed to show up for court, so.
Yes, ma'am. I understand that.
Because
But there's
here's the deal, Mr. Crawford. If you don't come in when you're scheduled to come in, I have limits to what I get to do.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
asking me, like, work with me, Judge, but I'm not going to show up or do anything will get
Yeah.
you about the shortest set of reins that I've got available, because that's what you're giving me.
Yes, ma'am. I completely understand your
You
frustration.
created that. You created
ma'am.
that, not me.
I did, and I accept that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, let's just be clear, because you created that
Yes.
situation.
Yes, ma'am. No, I understand that.
Now, tell me where you are now. What's going on?
So the reason I didn't show up for court then is because I was going through a real bad divorce. It's not an excuse, but and so my divorce was final in April, and I wasn't working at that time. That's another reason you gave me such a short amount of time to get it done in. And
No, that isn't, that had no play in it at all.
Oh, okay. Well, so now I am working and I get my son every other weekend, and so it's hard for me to do the community service on only 2
Okay.
days every other week.
Well, here's a couple things, okay? In the future, we take letters, faxes, and emails.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you communicate, then, here's what I did. I gave you 30 days, hoping to hear from you on time to say, I've gotten this much done. This is how much time I need. I would have, of course, explained this to you had you been in court when I made the decision. And court was online, like literally this.
Yes, ma'am.
And, then I work with people. I work with people all the time. They wind up getting lots of time to do their community service. They get, in most cases, however much time they tell me they need. But if they don't show up, I just give them 30 days. Now, I can't credit you anything now because you didn't do any of it. So we're going to start there. I can do a payment plan of $100 a month per your request. Can you start that payment today?
No, ma'am. I can start it at the end of the week, though.
Okay, well, Friday, let me just check a calendar.
Friday's
Friday,
the
11th. Can you come in today and sign? And then on the 11th, you begin payment.
Yes, ma'am. I get off at work at 3:30. Would that be okay?
3:30 is fine.
Yes, ma'am. I can show up, be there at 3:45.
Okay, we'll have everything for you and you'll get a printout of everything. And if you have questions, you can ask the clerk. If the clerk can't answer, they'll get that question to me. Do you have any questions right now?
Yes, ma'am. The fines on that, they seemed a little steep to me. Is there any way that we can reduce those?
Let me look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
I will be right back with you. I'm going to take the prosecutor and move his case forward so that I can keep him moving. I'll be right back with you, Mr. Crawford.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mattson, on the Anderson case, where are we?
Your Honor, Ms. Anderson and I have reached an agreement on terms of deferral.
Okay,
It's going to be a 120-day period. with an 8-hour Inger course by day 60. And Ms. Anderson is requested to break up the payment of the balance into 3 installments of $99, $99, and $98.
Okay. Ms. Anderson, what that turns into is a deferral that runs from today until December 7th. With an 8-hour course due on October 10th, we will provide information. We will provide information for the course. The first payment will be September 7th. The second payment will be October 10th, and the final payment will be November 7th.
All right.
I need your signature on the document explaining all this to you, and also so that we can give you course information. What time can you be here today?
I'm here at the courthouse.
Great. Give us a couple
And
minutes.
the other thing is I don't have a computer. I have a phone. So I have no way to do course. I don't know how to do it.
Right. Well, there's a library right down the street, and
All right.
they have free access there.
All right. Okay.
So you can work with them about that, or check in with a friend that might have access. But that's
Okay.
agreement. Do you agree or do you not agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I can get that document ready for you and have it at the in the lobby shortly. If you want to come on in and let them know we're getting your documents ready, and
Okay.
we can make that available to you in a few moments.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Matson, I'm going to move you forward, and your next person is Samuel Brown. Mr. Brown, can you unmute?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. I'll move over to that meeting with the prosecutor. Okay. After we get Anderson done, I want to talk about reductions with Crawford. Okay. And Mr. Matson, I think that movement happened, so that's going. And then I'm also moving forward. Give me a moment to just catch up. Mr. Fowler Carr, can you unmute and let me know how you are this morning? Sorry? Okay. Okay. Okay, Mr. Carr, hi. Good morning. I know you're working to unmute. It's just, yeah, it should. And I'm just prompting, I'm sending like a prompt to try to get you to hit that button. I think on his, what I would do is just reduce it by what's remaining. So let's do that. So Mr. Carr, I can't hear you, but I'm going to take a one directional way to converse with you for a moment. I did receive the payment that you made on your older cases. On the speeding charge, you paid that one in full, and that balance has zeroed out. On the insurance charge, we then took the remaining amount and applied that to that case as a bond. And there's a balance left of $49.50. I certainly would reduce that fine to that amount, by that amount, so I could zero that balance out today. So I would start there. And I did receive a no contest plea on that charge with a request for a reduction, which I will do. And I did, the other case had a finding already. So just a thumbs up on the, or down on the no insurance charge, which was for November 3rd of 2020. I received a no contest plea from you. Is that your plea at this time? Okay. So that one's not working and he came in with a different system. Okay. Maybe this one, there we go. Yay.
I'm so sorry about that. I apologize deeply. I was having technical issues on my end. I just resolved it, but they did not warn me it would shut down all my systems. So I apologize for that.
I could tell something was up and I'm not sure how much you did or didn't hear. So let me back up and just explain where I think we are and then I'll see what you think. Okay. We had an older case from August 4th. Well, it's not older, it's a newer, but we had a case with a no contest plea of speeding from August 4th, and you paid that one in full, and that's already been adjudicated as a no contest plea with a guilty finding. And then there was payment on a no insurance charge, a request for a reduction. We applied what you paid that was overpay on the other one to that case, which left you a balance of $49.50. And I'm reducing it to zero right now. So that will be done. But I just wanted to confirm, I did receive a no contest plea to that charge. It's an allegation of no insurance from November 3rd of 2020. And I received a no contest plea. Is that your plea time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then what I'll do is just accept what you've already paid as payment in full and zero you out and you're done.
Thank you, ma'am. You don't know what this means for me. With this being zeroed out, will I be able to get my license renewed before the week's over with?
Probably not before the week is over with. What you want to do, and we will give me 1 second to ask a quick question of a clerk.
Mm-hmm.
When we would take that out of Omni, who does that?
I want to say
Zena. Zena. Okay. Okay. The clerk that does that, I'm just going to send an email to her. Who would Melissa be the other option? Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about how this works.
Mm-hmm.
It does take a lot to get into that system, that hold, okay? And it can take a while to clear out. Now, we can send them an electronic request to clear you today. I'm supposed to tell people 20 business days, and that can be up to a month. However, okay, so there's a couple of things. I did just send an attempt to fast track it, but once I electronically tell DPS, take it out, I have no control over them. Okay. So I've asked a clerk to send that now. I don't know if you have been able to get on now, first of all, the warrants that you have are going off today. So those are gone. You can get an ID. Okay. As far as the license, it then becomes DPS's business. Okay. One thing I want to tell you about that is their system. Have you been able to look yourself up on what's called the failure to appear website?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you type into a search engine, Texas failure to appear license, you'll pull up the DPS system and you can pull yourself up in there. You'll see any quote open cases you have with any courts in Texas listed there if they've got a hold. Once that case moves from what their section called open, it'll drop to the bottom and that's called closed. Once your case moves to closed, that hold is cleared. So what I would do if it were me is I would probably log in there morning and evening to see if it's dropping into closed. And I would know, okay, I can go get it. Now, then you've got to, I don't know, it's your situation. So I don't know if you're being required to retake your test, if you're allowed to renew online, if you have to make an appointment, but I would get on their website and start figuring it out because I'm not DPS.
I understand.
I'm just the city of Temple. So the things that I can do for you, I'm going to do them right now. Okay. And then that's all I get to do. I'm literally doing, like, if you said there are 5 things that the judge has control over, I'm doing them all. They're done, but it means now it moves to a different layer. And that it's got, that layer got created over a period of time. It clears faster than it took to create it, but it doesn't sometimes clear as fast as we'd like.
Understandable, ma'am.
So that's all I can do, but I'm going to do that.
Thank you, ma'am. And also, is there any way I can get an email of this so I can go ahead and send this to my employer so they can understand the situation?
I can write a note out on my notes for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Docket sheet, just a blank one like we use for trial. Is that something we can print?
Yes, but I have to get out LT
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, I can't do it right now. Okay. Before in the next 30 minutes or so.
We don't have.
Is that an LT document? No, the like when we come into court and I have like a sheet that you give me for trials.
Oh, no, that's.
Is that just a Word document? Hold on.
It's a Word document. I'll have to. I'm trying to get this deferral of what he's working on, waiting for it before they kick us out.
Yeah, I get it. Are we getting kicked out in the middle of court?
We have to get out. It's too late.
Okay. We're having technical trouble. So what I'm going to do is write out a really formal looking thing. I normally just do quick notes. I'll write something out and I'll sign it and we'll email it to you. The court notes, and I'll sign it, and it'll at least kind of explain what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's cool. We'll see. Okay.
Yeah. As long my employers just want to know that everything is taken care of before they hire me on. So
Got
as long
it.
as it's there, I'm good.
Yeah, I really don't want to be your barrier, I promise. I'll do that and we'll email that to you. It just may be 30 minutes or so. Okay.
Not a problem, ma'am. Thank you for your help.
Yes, of course. Thanks for getting here. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna let you go.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
you. The email that we used for the meeting today.
It should be Wave Enio, WA.
Can't see it right now. Here's my question. Go to that email and click on our link to get to the meeting.
All right, let's see.
What email did you use today?
Oh yes, Wave Enio. That's the one I used.
Great. We're gonna use that one.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
A copy will be in your file though, in case you need another copy.
Yes, ma'am. We'll look for it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. Miss Dennison, can you unmute and get on screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There is a speeding charge with fines and costs of 222. I'm sorry, from December 22, 2019, with fines and costs of 414.10. There is also a violation of the promise to appear with a balance of 461.94. We had community service hours due 44 due August 28th of 2023. That's coming up. And then email from you and where are you? You're in Wichita Falls.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying that no nonprofits will say, yes, you can do community service?
Yes, ma'am. I've called 15 places here in Wichita. all of them nonprofit. I even listed every single one of them that I called. For some reason, they only do volunteer work, but they refuse to accept community service obligations.
So sometimes what they're thinking you're asking is like you're a felon and you've been ordered to do community service as part of a sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
It's really different, and some places are not very educated. It just has to do with indigent status that you've been ordered to do community service.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you want to do is, instead of calling and saying, do you take court-ordered community service? And they go, oh, felon, no, we don't accept felons.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
Wait a minute.
I had all of them tell me.
No, I'm talking. Nope, I'm talking. And if you're not gonna let me talk, I'm gonna mute you because I'm not done talking.
I'm sorry.
This is my court order and I'm trying to explain it to you. If you don't want my help, we don't need to talk.
Oh, I didn't say that. I was just trying to
Over me,
say something.
you're still doing it. And I've muted you and you've unmuted yourself. So, I mean, stop and let me finish. What you want to do is find something that's close enough for you to do it and go over and show them the form that we gave you and say, I'm indigent. This is volunteer work where I get credit for my fines. It's for a traffic ticket. Because I'm going to tell you that I don't know which one, but I've had people turn in community service from that community before. And you're going to have to find a way to get it approved and get it done. I know what you're telling me, but I think that it's because you're prompting it the wrong way. They're assuming that you're a felon and they don't want felons coming and volunteering at their church or whatever. Okay. Their food bank or whatever. But if you tell them this is for a traffic ticket and, you know, it's volunteer work and I just need, the other thing is to go and say, if I volunteer here, can I get proof that I was here in the time that I was here? That's all that we're asking them to do, is say in a letter or on our form, either one, this person was here and we are a nonprofit at these times and we are a nonprofit. So I think that you'll have a different result. I can give you a little more time since now that we are talking about it, you might have a better idea. Right now, the 28th, I can give you until September 28th. I will need some kind of pre-approval, just a note from them where you're going and that they approve you by the 28th of August. My main thing there is, you know, somebody that's willing to say they're a nonprofit and that they're willing to sign off and say you were there. If somebody says to me, I only take volunteers, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And I find it impossible to believe that they would say, we only take volunteers, but we won't do the documentation to prove those volunteers, because they're legally required under federal law to have that paperwork available within their own system because it's a tax issue. So I know what I'm talking about on this. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They need to understand you're not a felon. Okay. And that you're not trying to get some kind of felony thing done. I don't know what all this is, but
That's what she emailed me.
Oh. Okay. When you emailed all this stuff in, I'm not sure. I got like 7 different versions of the same thing, but it's all blank. So I don't see any value in this. The income information, has it changed? Are you working?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm not sure why you sent a bunch of blank income information forms back over to us.
I'm
But
not sure either.
that's your
I
statement.
thought it was, yeah, I thought it was filled out. My mistake.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I'm willing to do for you, or I can set you on low payments. Which do you want to do?
I can try calling around again or seeing somewhere that's close enough to me to walk to see if they'll do volunteer work and sign off.
Do you have kids?
I'm currently pregnant. I'm currently 5 months pregnant on bed rest. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So I know I don't have kids and technically growing one.
okay. I was just gonna see if you might check in with their school. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So talk to your doctor about it too. I may need to give you more
Yes,
time.
ma'am.
May need to give you a lot more time. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Crawford. Here's the thing. Can you get on unmute? And are
Yes, ma'am.
are you able to get on screen?
No, ma'am. Okay. There we go.
Hey, okay. Okay. So the outside storage charge. Let's see. I'm just looking. We're having some technical problems over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, court is taking longer.
It's okay.
But also, I'm not able to get in on your fines and look at them. Now, I do have a couple of questions because I can't look in my system. I'm going to ask you questions that you probably assume I would know the answer to, but I literally can't look at my docket right now. I just got a printout, thankfully, that the clerk made for me before we started court.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a general idea of what we're talking about. And it's enough to not kick you out and make a new date. Let's work on it while we can, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
the outside storage charge, there were two of those, November and December. And forgive me, but I'm forgetting, did you just enter a plea or did we have a trial? Because I've had a lot of those trials lately and they're running together just a bit.
After I missed my court date, yes, ma'am, I entered a plea of no contest.
Okay, do you understand what that was about?
Yes, ma'am. My yard was a mess. I don't argue that fact. Yes, ma'am.
Have you been able to fix the problem, clean it up, not continue to have it be an
Yes,
issue?
ma'am. It's completely cleaned up.
Okay, I'm going to assume that's true too, because I haven't seen you for anything new. So I think that's probably, I'm assuming, but I just wanted to check in with you and make sure. Sometimes people are still like, I don't really know. I just pled, which
Yes.
isn't what I would do, but it's not my case now, is it? It's theirs. So I don't tell people what to do. But what I can do with these, is go ahead and reduce once I get my system back up and running, which is going to be a little while. You're coming in around 3:30 today. I'm hopeful that we'll get our system back up and running within the hour.
Yes, ma'am.
And I can get you a new total.
That's fine.
I probably can cut off about half or so of the money, and I'll look at it carefully here in a little bit. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
When I'm able, and the clerk can help me do reductions because I ordered them to do it and they do it. Judges can't reduce and take money because judges should never take money. So I have to get with a clerk, but I will do that this morning. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
I think by the time you get here at 3:30, hopefully we'll be up and running. We're going through a conversion process, and it's not a religious conversion, though I think we're praying a lot right now. So, so
I
that's
completely understand.
that's kind of what's happening. That's what you might be experiencing. But I'll take a look at it and we'll get you down to a more reasonable amount.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Crawford. That should be your total right now is $5,040.
Yes, ma'am.
You get here today, you'll have a new total that you'll sign off on. Okay.
I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Crawford.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, the mechanism that we use to do that is NLT like a reduction, but the form we do is a waiver
Yes.
because he's already been sentenced. So just so you and I are clear. It has felt chaotic. I'm supposed to be in a meeting and it's like, yeah, they shouldn't set meetings when we're in court because there's no way to do a 10 o'clock meeting.
It's fine, still.
He's still in his meeting. I'm gonna go into this Teams meeting and just let them know that I'm gonna jump in and tell them I'm in court still. They may be done, I don't know. Yeah, there's nobody there. Just gonna try one other way and make sure there's no. Interesting, I can't get into.
Down here.
Well, it wouldn't let me join with my video because it says my video is being used, so. Hey, Brittany. Let me try to unmute. Brittany.
Hello.
Hi, this is Judge Person. We're still in court and but I just wanted to let somebody know I'm normally in court at this time and we've tried to kind of hustle, but we haven't been able to because our whole system got shut down and everything
Oh
is
my
just
gosh.
delayed. It's just not a great time generally.
No, you're good. Okay,
So-
would it be later in the day would work better for you guys?
It would normally. Today is a bad day because we're meeting with Bryn later.
Okay, no worries at all. I already met with Melissa and Dana.
That's
So we just had a quick meeting because they had to run back to court. So I gave them just a few things.
okay.
But we already talked about it. So if you want to touch base with them, I gave them all the info.
Okay.
But of course, if you guys are ever too busy, just shoot me a chat or an email. We can definitely reschedule. It's not do or die. So we're
Okay.
good.
Just so you know, Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings, we're always in court. So
Okay,
okay.
perfect.
I'll
I
get-
will
I'll
make
get
sure we
with-
don't have meetings on those days.
Okay, I'll get with Dana and Melissa and make sure I'm helping with whatever we need to do. Okay,
Perfect. Sounds good.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hopefully y'all can hear me in this other meeting. Okay. Okay, Mr. Matson, can you hear me?
I can, Your Honor.
Yay. We're actually doing a lot just to do that today. It's really been a bit of a mess. So you were
I understand that.
talking to Samuel Brown, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. I've tried to move him. I'm not getting anywhere. Let me keep trying. It's not working.
Let me go back over and see if I can get
Well-
him to accept.
Okay. Are we back up or not?
We got emails like, it's bad, but it's not.
We'll probably have to reboot everything. Mine just is spinning and says that I can continue, but it won't let me continue. And I get an error message. Okay. All right. We have several items to discuss. And so let's just begin wherever y'all are.
All right, Judge. So there's going to be a multi-step process here.
Okay.
The charge of failing to stop at designated point, that is going to be placed on a deferral, but I'm going to be filing a motion to reduce prior to that.
Okay.
Once that has been done, the terms of deferral are going to be 120-day period. And Mr. Brown has elected to make payment in installments of $93 per month for the first 3 months, which will total out to the court costs. It's $93 and the 20 cents divided by 3. I'm not sure how you'd prefer to do that.
I don't have an opinion, to be honest, but what is the total amount that would be due on the case? That's with after your reduction.
$279 and 20 cents.
Okay, we can just put the 20 cents at the end. And the payment dates would be on that one would be September 7th, October 10th, and November 7th. On that 120-day deferral. Okay, and we'll work on that shortly. We've got a whole system crash shut down over here, so we're
I
just
understand that.
gonna do what we do. Okay, so the next charge, let's go to the next thing.
The remaining 4, I will be filing motions to dismiss on as part of the agreement that Mr. Brown and I reached. And as soon as LT is back up, I'll be able to get those printed and signed.
Okay, so the deferral, I'll approve those. Okay, the deferral runs from today until December 7th. The reduction will be accepted. I have to assume this is going to total out the right way. I believe there are collection fees. We'll do our best to get it to the number that you're requesting. Have you done all the math out and you're sure it will go exactly into that?
That's my understanding. The total balance that I was shown, I believe, includes the collection fees and warrant fees that were added. But I will double check with Melissa. Or I guess Aaron, if you know the breakdown of how that all works on LT, but we can make sure that it's set up correctly.
We can, what I'm going to say is I will get as close to the number that y'all have agreed on as possible within what's in there. You know, it could be a little tiny more or a tiny less. And I err on the side of in favor of the defendant at that point. But I have no problem with the reduction at all. I just know that percentage thing gets calculated by that program, and I refer to it to some extent. Okay, so I don't have any problem with this agreement. But here's how I understand it, Mr. Brown and Mr. Mattson. From today until December 7th of 2023, you'll be on a deferred for the failing to stop at designated point. The default is there's a no contest plea that you are entering as part of that deferral. There will be a reduction that will be as close as we can get you to $279.20. And then roughly payments every 30 days of about $93. I'll know here in a little bit exactly, but I just had the unfortunate circumstance of that program just having shut down after being updated yesterday. So the first payment will be September 7th. The second payment will be October 10th. The final payment will be November 7th. And then the deferral dismissal will happen on or around December 7th. I'm going to put that into a written document. I'm going to email it to the email that we used to set this meeting up today. My expectation is that you will print it and sign it and get it back to us today. Is that possible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the email that we used for the meeting today, will that work? That email that we used?
Yes, ma'am.
This, we sent the meeting link, and then the other 4 cases are being dismissed as a conditional acceptance of the plea. And I will approve those dismissals as soon as I receive them. Is that both of your understanding of your agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we have marching orders and a way to get you out of the situation that you find yourself in right now. And I think that's a good conclusion. Okay, and so questions?
None. I don't have any, Your Honor.
Okay. I will look for getting this wrapped up as soon as I get our program up and running, and then we'll email it to you. I would anticipate that happening before lunch.
Okay. And I'll get it back to you ASAP. Thank you.
Yeah, today would be good. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Matson, I'll look for those dismissals from you as well.
Thank you, Judge.
You can email them if you want, or yeah. Actually, we've got your deferred document. Oh, that's not yours. We'll have it shortly. We will.
Okay, thank you.
And that way you'll have a copy of what's needed. It'll kind of look like this.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Everybody good to go?
Thank you.